Oh, yep, we're back live, folks. We're back live. Hey, this is Mike at Mike's Magic Auto Detailing and Paint Enhancement here in sunny Sharpsburg, Georgia. Again, I just wanted to do kind of a quick video here. Yeah, I know some of you say, Mike, you don't do any quick videos, but I just wanted to catch all up on the plans so far on this 1965 Mustang GT 350 Cobra. Well, we've prepped the vehicle. Me, rinseless washed it with that rinseless wash I showed you guys earlier, and it is now literally squeaky clean. Clay barred certain parts of the paint. I did the baggy test, and when I ran across contaminants, I only clay barred that particular spot because you don't want to clay bar a vehicle unless it's necessary. Most vehicles, a couple times a year maybe, is all you really want to do. But that's all been done. And one thing I wanted to tell you guys about, hey Rick, listen to this, Rick. One thing I noticed, of course, I've taped everything off. You can see this tape here. I even taped off this where this trim piece is for a couple of reasons, to protect the trim, and there's some bad spots down in there, so I didn't want to be buffing on that. Not cause any more problems. And as I told you earlier, I taped off the stripes. I've taped it off to do the blue part first because that's where I'm going to start, because that's the easiest to see the defects in this paint, and then I can reposition them over when I'm ready to do the white part. Right there, yep. Taped off here for a couple of reasons. I noticed some buffer marks along this leading edge here, which is typical, so I wanted to protect that as well as make my cleanup afterwards easy, because all these products will dust to some degree, and it's a it's a pain trying to get the dust out of these cracks. The hood and trunk's not so bad, and the doors, because you can open them up, but places like this, see the tape, it's really hard to get in there and clean that stuff out of there. Oh man, still getting stuff. I covered up I'll do the vent cowl at a separate time from when I do the hood, and then I'll reposition this tape. I'll probably just remove these rags that I've got covered up, because I don't want to have to get in there and clean all that out. So I'll probably do this part by hand, so that buffer's not slinging stuff everywhere. Of course, I've got the wipers arms covered up with the tin foil, which if you've ever had to go back and clean all those little nooks and crannies out of one of those, you'd understand why I do that. I protected the trim here as well as this edge, because there again I could see where whoever buffed this thing before had done a slight bit of damage there. There. But another thing I noticed, Rick, when you were over here, we were talking about these stripes and how these are cleared over, and you could feel, if you felt carefully, the edge of the stripes, but it was hard. You were hardly ever able to feel them. But when I was and there's another couple spots that I noticed, but when I got down here, Rick, these are obvious. They feel like vinyl stripes. I mean, it's a very obvious. As soon as you feel of it, you can tell. And even I can tell the edges have been damaged a little bit prior, probably by a buffer. So yeah, this is all going to have to be taped up meticulously when I get around to it. All those lower stripes are in the same shape. And in fact, up here, you can feel almost the same thing, although not as blatantly obvious as those stripes lower down. So yeah, all the stripes will be getting done, but I'm ready to start buffing now. Rick, and what I do, I don't care, y'all do whatever you want, but I'll have my rinseless wash diluted down to a quick detail dilution rate. And what I'll do is I'll wet a nice soft cloth and I'll wipe it down with that as a prep before I start buffing, because inevitably, even since now that I have washed this paint, I've shut the garage door, there's still a little bit of dust that has landed on here, some particulate, so I want to wipe all that off before I start buffing, because I don't want to be putting scratches in as I take scratches out. So that's something I always do. Some people would say, oh, Mike, you're paranoid doing all this, you know. So anyway, maybe not. I just believe in being cautious, especially with a special car like this one. Of course, I know people's cars are all special to them, but even most of those folks wouldn't argue that this is really special. So I'm going to get started here, Rick. I'll be working a little overtime tonight because I'm anxious to see how my idea of how I want to do this and remove those defects and micro marring and all that out of this blue paint is going to work. So at the very minimum, I'm going to do a couple test spots and see how it turns out. You know, it's hard to beat that little narrow 3M precision tape. Hey, Miss, does that say Elaine? I can't hardly read it without my reading glasses on. But hey, I'm ready to get started. And why am I starting on the hood? Just because, no particular reason. I usually start on the roof on most cars, but you know, it's just the mood that I'm in today. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. You know, whatever works best for you. A lot of times I will do the roof first, just because typically the roof is one of the worst spots, because a lot of people don't give the roofs a lot of love as they do the hood and the vertical surfaces, because it can be kind of tedious, you know, standing here, even this small of a car, reaching out here with a 5-8 pound buffer, because you don't want a lot of pressure, but controlling that buffer and doing all this with your arm fully extended can be kind of physically tough. So they're hard to do. Now this part's easy to do because you can stand right here and do it. But getting over in the middle, that gets difficult. It's going to be particularly difficult on this one because I'm going to have to tape all that off and do the white and the blue separate. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I can't remember where it was, Rick. Somewhere right in here. I can pick it up right there. I doubt if you're going to be able to see it in the camera, but there is a buffer burn right there. Now, it doesn't seem to have burned through the clear coat, but it did burn the clear coat, so I think I'm probably going to be able to get that out. And there was one part, I've got it taped over now, but this wasn't cleared over up here as good as further down, because I think it's because that's easier to get to than this for a painter. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you painters can tell me, but you could tell in here, I've taped over it now, but there were some defects in that line of the paint right there because the edge had been caught there again by somebody buffing it without taping it off. It's not terrible, Rick. It's barely noticeable. I didn't notice it until I started doing the very tedious and meticulous wash on it. That's when I said, oh, somebody roughed up the edge of that stripe with a buffer. I could tell you it was a buffer. About the only thing that could do that. in my opinion. Yeah, I got a few fingerprints on it now. A little scratch right there, but that should come out, Rick. Should come out, because I can't feel it at all. So it should come out. Anyway, just a quick catch up for you guys on this car. This is a fun project. I am thoroughly enjoying this so far. A lot of meticulous, careful washing, and then prepping all this, getting ready for buffing, and you know, taping all this stuff off can take time, you know, because I've got tape there, I've got tape here, I've got tape here, there, there. I mean, you can see the tape. That's just the hood. And some guys will tape off the entire vehicle all at one time. I personally don't like to do that. I tape off usually each section as I do it, because I don't like to leave this tape on any longer than I have to, because sometimes if it stays on there too long, it can be very difficult to get off, and it'll leave some residue, which can be difficult to get off. And I have seen this tape, when it was left on too long, actually pull paint off the car, and that would be a disaster. But most of this tape, when I get ready to do the white, because I'm going to start on the blue, I probably will be able to just reposition it instead of having to retape it. Because I'm telling you, this 3M Precision automotive tape is not cheap. And believe it or not, this little narrow tape, and I found this ridiculous, who knows why, is more expensive than the wide tape. I don't know why. That narrow precision tape, it can be pricey. And I buy 15, 20 rolls at a time, because I don't like running out. But I'm going to get started now, Mr. Rick. I know you're anxious. You're like, quit talking and get to work, boy. Mr. Rick is the owner of this fine vehicle. Sending it out to a sale, as I understood him to say. So it is up for sale. So hey, any of you guys watching this, if you're interested, shoot me a PM or something, and I'll hook you and Mr. Rick up. I have no idea what he wants for it. None of my business. I think he did tell me about what it was worth, but I have forgotten now. But yeah, down there, Rick, that's going to be a pain right there. Because those feel like vinyl striping to me. I don't know if it is or not, but it obviously wasn't cleared over, because there is a definite, when you run your fingers across that, you know it feels like a vinyl stripe. The edges are pronounced. Anyway, I'm going to get started. Maybe stop for supper here in a little while. And you know, tomorrow's always another day. Try to get up early and get started and get some progress going. But I do want to do a test spot first, Rick, and I'll probably come back tomorrow with another video to show if I'm as smart as I think I am. All right, you guys, I appreciate y'all watching. Like, tag, share, follow, subscribe, and all that stuff. If you do so, please make a comment, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. I'm always interested in the comments that I get and the questions that some people shoot me in the PMs. If you have a question and you want to try doing your own car this way, about what products I recommend, you know, what equipment I recommend, so forth and so on, hey, I'm glad to answer those questions. Some people say, what's your biggest secret? I don't have any secrets. I don't keep secrets. If I know something, I will tell you. I'm not going to keep it away from you, because I know there are plenty of customers and potential customers out there, even though they might know how to do this, they might have the equipment and the product to do this, some of them just don't have the time. And I think that's part of the case with Mr. Rick. Mr. Rick's pretty good at this stuff, I think. Has a lot of knowledge, and I've tried to teach him other things as we've gone along with the whole host of vehicles he's brought me, which is usually something cool like this. Although I think I did do his everyday truck. Anyway, all right, folks, I'm going to shut up now and get off of here and get to work. Thank you so much for dropping by. Bye now.